the author challenges the reader. It's as if he's talking to you directly na, okay, now what? It's as if the author is daring you to think a certain way, to feel a certain way. Hi everyone, this is Paul Loves to Read, and as you know in this channel, it's all about promoting the love and joy of literature, and we hope that our little channel helps you find the right book for you. And today, I'm going to share with you this very unique book. It's called Life for Sale, written by Yukio Mishima. It's fiction. It was published way back in 1968, but I believe that it's just quite new in the English market. This edition, this specific edition, is a 2019 edition. The title itself is quite catchy, right? Life for Sale. So very very clickbaitish yung title niya. And also the synopsis of the book at the back, it says that it's about this guy who committed suicide, or at least tried to commit suicide and failed. So he survived his suicide attempt, and when he survived it, he realized, why not I just put up my life for sale, and then let's see who are the people who will want to purchase my life, and then they can pay me. So he put out an ad in the newspaper, and he placed life for sale for XX amount. And then with him, the guy, with an expectation that he would die or expire at the end of that contract, because yun nga, he's selling his life. Again, it's a very strange book, right? It's a very strange synopsis, and it's very morbid. It deals with suicide, attempted suicide. It deals with death. It deals with wanting to die, but written in a quintessentially classic Japanese style that is strange, but also heartfelt and endearing and subtle, and entertaining too. So it takes this very serious subject matter and writes a story about it in an entertaining way. So it's just brilliant. And I feel like Japanese authors do this the best, that manner of writing. There are portions where it's a light read. There are portions where it gets heavy, because you realize that the protagonist, Hanyo Yamada, you realize that Hanyo really just wants to die. That's why he's selling his life. But then, in the course of wanting to sell his life, and essentially that means giving another person the autonomy and authority to take away his life. That's the real message, right? You are unburdening yourself of the decision when to expire and how to expire. And that's the seriousness of it. He gets into this. There are certain people, certain strange, odd characters who would end up purchasing his life with the knowledge and intention of him ending up dead. But it doesn't happen. And these are strange, odd circumstances. It's a very serious topic, but told in a more relatable, more entertaining manner. You walk away from the book definitely contemplating. I walked away from the book thinking, what did I just read? How do I feel about it? Did I find it funny? If I did find it funny, should I be laughing? Because it's about death, right? Not just about death. It's about suicide. So it's not a laughing matter. So that kind of, and I think that's the point also. That's the point. That's why you read books like this. You kind of want to step back and see how it impacts your thoughts and your emotions. And again, this is fictional, This is fictional. What Hanyo's issue was that he is having an existential problem. First and foremost, he doesn't find meaning in his life anymore. And he is struggling to find meaning. He feels like everything is meaningless. That's why he wanted to expire. He wanted to end his life. But at the same time, he he wanted to have autonomy in how he would leave this earth. But at the same time, he doesn't want to kill himself. So there's an oxymoron there. There's a juxtaposition there. Wanting to die, but not wanting to kill yourself. And then wanting to die in your own terms, or wanting to end your life in your own terms, but not to the point that you would actually act on it. I feel like the whole book is a statement for the reader. It's really a question to you, to the reader. Like, okay, then after reading this, how do you feel about it? Then what's your opinion about it? So because of the nature of the story, I couldn't help but wonder, why would the author write something like this, right? What's the motivation behind it? What's the thinking of the author? I was curious. It's the first time, well, siguro naman hindi naman first time, pero it's rare when I get curious about the background of a fiction author. I would always look into the background and personality of a non-fiction author. But for a fiction author, not always. Not always. But this one, he got me curious. He got me curious, so I had to look him up. And mind you have to keep in mind, this was published in 1968 in Japan. I think this is fairly new in the English market. So what was happening in Japan back in the 1960s, 1960s, right? What's the political climate? What was the economic climate? Who was this guy? Who was the author? What was he like? What did he believe in? Because why do you ask that? Because that must have absolutely contributed to his book. And true enough, when I read up on him, he is a very active political activist in Japan, in Tokyo back then. I don't know top of mind what was his political inclinations, but he apparently wrote a lot of books. He's a known writer and a wide writer. He has written a lot of novels, a lot of books. He's very active. He's an activist. He's very vocal as well in his beliefs. And he did face some opposition also and detractors during the time. When he wrote this, and it was published in 1968, the author, Yukio Mishima, actually committed suicide himself. I think about a year after the book is published. So that kind of, after reading about the author, I kind of have a better understanding of the book. And it became more impactful to me. It is shocking, yes. It's absolutely shocking. I was shocked when I read it too. But it made me understand the book and him better. I did not know about the book other than I was walking in the bookstore and I was browsing and I thought that the synopsis is interesting. And I was curious. I was really curious. It's the first time that I saw, or it's the first time that I encountered a book talking about selling one's life. And him being a Japanese author for me is a bonus, because who else could write it in a subtle way, in a delicate way? Because in my experience, from all the Japanese authors that I've read, they really do handle subject matters delicately. So I was curious. I got curious. In conclusion, again, it's a morbid, it's a dark premise, but strangely enough, it is actually entertaining, and there are funny moments in the book. I'm not kidding. There are funny moments in the book, and there are heartwarming moments in the book, and there are confusing moments also. But overall, I think it's one of those books that would really make you do a double take, and contemplate after reading it. Like, yun na nga. Parang it's a type of book that you would want to discuss with somebody who has read it and kind of just unpack the thing. Like, how do you feel about it? Why, and all that. And now what, right? So it's very insightful in that sense, and very challenging, right? Because there are few books out there, fictional books. There are a few fiction books out there that challenges you in that level. Non-fiction, pwede pa. Pero fiction, not so much. Not very many. It challenges the reader. The author challenges the reader. It's as if he's talking to you directly na, okay, now what? It's as if the author is daring you to think a certain way, to feel a certain way. So it's brilliant. So there you have it. Not for everyone, but this is like a next level kind of topic and book if you're ready for it. Thank you. Ano na nangyari kay Grab?
So serious.
It is, no? Very serious. I realize that it's serious. I realize its seriousness more now that I hear myself, when I heard myself talk about it. Kasi yung sinishare ko siya sa iyo before, parang okay lang, 'di ba? Parang medyo okay lang eh. Pero ngayon, now that I kind of have to really dig deep and yeah, it's
Oh, tsaka you're sharing it to more people. And
yeah. It's so yun.